So today we will discuss about different thoughts of management. Okay, actually, we have different thoughts of management known as classical management, then neoclassical management, then modern management. Okay. Different thoughts of management. Different thoughts of management given by different stalwarts. Like if we see, like a very popular name was known as, you can see, I think you can see the board maybe.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yeah. So basically, very popular name is Frederick Winslow Taylor. He was a very popular. It was a very popular name, Frederick Winslow Taylor. He was actually known as father of scientific management. He was actually known as father of scientific management. Next, there are lots of popular stalwarts are there. Another very popular name like F.W. Taylor, like Henry Fayol. Now this Henry Fayol, he was known as father of modern management. So F.W. Taylor is known as father of scientific management, and Henry Fayol, he was known as father of modern management. Apart from them, as I told you, there are lots of other people are there. We will discuss about all of them gradually. Like here, Frank and Lillian Gilbert. His time and motion studies was another very popular approach of management. So likewise, management has different approaches. If we broadly classify them, we will get classical management, or you can say classical theory. We will get neoclassical theory, and we will get the modern theory. So there are basic three theories of management are very popular. So one is classical approach, another will be neoclassical approach, another is modern approach. Okay, so these things, these theories are very popular. Now before that, before this classical approach, neoclassical approach, and modern approach, before this we have also got another approach, which is basically you can say known as pre-scientific management period. You can say pre-scientific management period, where different organizations have contributed in that pre-scientific management period. Like we can say like Roman Catholic Church. It was Roman Catholic Church was a major contributor in pre-scientific management period, or maybe the military organizations. Some writers like Charles Babbage. You must have heard the name of Charles Babbage. So writers like Charles Babbage, James Watt. So these are few very popular names who has contributed in pre-scientific management period, where there was no such popular management theories has come. Okay, so these are some names in pre-scientific management period. We can say now. Actually, in the pre-scientific management period, what happened in the pre-scientific management period? There was no such kind of you can say popular theories and all that has evolved. So people tries to manage on their own, manage by their own theories, by their own practical knowledge and all that. Now after that, actual management thought has come from the classical theory. Under the classical theory of management, actually, if I say, then I should say that in the classical theory of management, it was assumed that workers' satisfaction is based only on the physical and economic needs. That was the basic of the classical theory. Okay, in the classical theory, you just think, just classical theory, we are assuming that a worker's satisfaction it is based only on the physical and economic needs. That means workers are hungry, that is their physical needs. They have hunger, that is their physical need, and they need money for that, so their economical needs. So this kind of thinking was there in case of classical theory. So we are talking about late 1800 and all that era. Okay, where the classical theory has basically came. So here the worker satisfaction, they thought that worker satisfaction is only on their physical and economical needs. So that is the thing. They don't care about the other need of the worker, like job satisfaction or other social securities, which is needed, which can be needed by a worker, by a person. They don't think that. So that is basically the classical management theory approach. And under the classical approach, if we see under the classical approach, we will got like scientific management. These are the popular classical approaches, like scientific management. Then we can say like administrative management. Then we can say suppose bureaucratic management. Sorry, this will be another bureaucratic management. So these are the very popular theories of the classical management. Okay, these are the very popular theories under the classical management. Okay, now we will see one after one all these theories under the classical management. That is, we will start with scientific management, and then we will go on further. Now, so as I told you, you have to keep in mind that classical theory, its main focus was on the physical and economical need of the person. Physical and economical need. Okay, you can write it, physical and economical need. So only physical and economical need was considered in classical approach. Right. Now, after that, another approach has came, which is known as neoclassical approach. Another approach has came, which was known as neoclassical approach. Now, under the neoclassical approach, we can say, under the neoclassical approach, we can say that it not only considered the physical and economic needs, it also consider the job satisfaction of a person and other social needs. So that was the difference, basically. That was the difference. Between classical and neoclassical approach, or you can say classical and neoclassical theory of management. Now, in the neoclassical approach, along with physical and economical, so you can write it physical, economical, social, these things. Social is also, and you can say job satisfaction. So these factors, job satisfaction, these factors have been considered. These factors have been considered in satisfaction, have been considered in you can say neoclassical approach. So classical approach and neoclassical approach. Under the neoclassical approach, there are lots of theories, lots of popular theories. I will name one. That is joinটা তাড়াতাড়ি করলে ভালো হয়, সবাই এত দেরি করে জয়েন করে না। Under the neoclassical approach, you can say we can name few theorists like Hawthorne. Okay, Hawthorne theory. I don't know whether you have heard the name. Hawthorne theory. Actually, neoclassical approach was based on experimental approach. That's why we should include this also, experimental approach. Neoclassical, this particular approach was based on experiment. So a theory has given by Hawthorne, we will discuss someday, and then experiment. It was basically based on experimental approach. So this is basically a neoclassical theory. So we have got two theories, or you can say two management thought mainly. One is classical approach, another is neoclassical approach. Now, under the classical theory of management, you will get scientific management. And I told you that Frederick Winslow Taylor, that is F.W. Taylor, more popularly known as F.W. Taylor, was known as father of scientific management. F.W. Taylor. Okay, he was known as father of scientific management, and so scientific management is one approach under the classical theory. Next, administrative approach is another approach, and the bureaucratic approach. Okay, and here we are only considering the physical and economical need of a person. Next comes neoclassical approach. In the neoclassical approach, we got physical. We considered apart from this physical and economical need of a person, we consider the social and job satisfaction also. Social needs of a person as well as the job satisfaction of a person. And here the popular theories as given by Hawthorne, and it was based on the experimental approach. So this is about classical and neoclassical. Now, if we comes to the modern theory, a modern theory of management, modern approach of management is much more modern. You can get the similarities of today's management in modern theory. Now, in the modern theory, we considered lots of things actually. Now, I should just give you the names of the approaches under the modern theory. So, modern theory of management. Under the modern theory of management, you will name two approach. One is known as systems approach, and another is known as contingency approach. So these two are the very popular approach under the modern theory. So systems approach and contingency approach. We will discuss about all these approaches actually. in this course. Classical theory, neoclassical theory, modern theory, all are very important. We have to understand all these theories. Let us begin with, as I told you, the difference between the classical and neoclassical approach. As I told you, that classical approach is based on the physical and economical need of a person, and neoclassical approach is based on the apart from physical and economical, the job satisfaction, social needs, everything has been considered. Now, let us come to the classical management theory. Let us come to the classical management theory. In the classical management theory, I'm sharing the notes with you. In the classical management theory, if you see, you will get that that it is based on the belief that workers only have physical and economical needs. It doesn't consider the social need or job satisfaction. আসেনি তখন এই ধারণাই আসেনি, অ্যাকচুয়ালি ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে তখন এই ধারণাই আসেনি যে a person can have social needs, a person can have job and the need of job satisfaction and all that. Here actually instead of this, actually they advocates for the specialization of the labor, centralized leadership. The leadership was centralized, one man army. Actually in an organization there will be one man army kind of thing, and decision making and profit maximization has been taken by the one man. So that is the decisions will be taken by one man. So that is basically the classical management theory was, or classical management theory of management is. Now this theory, if you see, it is based on three concepts. Okay, based on three main concepts. One is known as hierarchical structure, another is known as specialization, and another is known as incentives. So there are basically three main concepts was involved in the classical management of the theory approach, and that is hierarchical structure. You know what is hierarchical structure? Hierarchical structure means actually the total workplace, it was divided under three layers: top, middle, lower. Okay, top, middle, lower.
Yes, sir.
Top are the owners, board of directors, executives. They are the top, as you know. Middle management takes the responsibility, like how the supervisors are working and on that, all that. And at the lowest level, there are supervisors who manage the day-to-day activities and all that, and addressing the problems for the employees, like that. So that was basically the hierarchical structure. That is the structure what we know, what we got, like a pyramid. Okay, so top, middle, and lower level. So that is the hierarchical structure. That is okay. Next is specialization. So what is specialization here? Actually, it involves an assembly line view of the workplace, like in which large tasks are broken down into smaller ones. Actually, what happens here? Actually, every person has their specialized area, and that person was responsible for that area only. Like suppose one person is very good at painting. So I mean painting job. So in a big house, his responsibility only to paint the particular thing. Now somebody who was very good, who was maybe very good at molding the metal, so his responsibility was only to do that. So that is the specialization of the workforce, and that specialization was in a single area. Basically, it was in a single area. So that is the specialization. And the third pillar of the classical management theory, or third concept under the classical management theory, you can say incentives. Now basically uh, in the classical management theory, it was believed that people can be, or employees can be motivated by the financial rewards. And from that particular viewpoint, from that particular angle, this incentives concept has come. So its purpose was to make employees more productive by giving them, by awarded them incentives. Now, the employers who can motivate their employees by the name of incentives, they were able to earn much more profits, able to produce much more output. So that is basically the concept of incentive is. So under the classical theory of management, what we got actually, if we summarize, so actually it was a hierarchical structure was maintained. Under this hierarchical structure, basically there was, as we know, there was three things actually. As we know, there are three things: top level management, middle level management, and lower level management. The top level management, they were responsible. They were the boss. They are the boss. They are the boss, like board of director, like you say, like owner of the house, owner of the organization. Okay, so they are the, we can say they are the boss. Okay, now the so that is basically the first pillar under the classical management. So I'm writing here. So classical management, number one, or you can say, if we make a chart, or if you want to remember it like that, then first is the hierarchical structure. Next is the specialization, single specialization. More perfectly, if we say, to like, it will be single specialization. So I'm writing specialization, specialized area, specialization or specialized area, whatever you say, specialization. And third was incentives. Third was incentives. Now, under this hierarchical structure, what we got? We got actually top level management. We got middle level management. And we got, we should say, lower level or operational level management. Who are the top level managers? You know, the boss, the owners and the directors and all that. Who was the middle level? What was the job of the middle level managers? Was to actually was to
departmental managers and the production management,
yes,
financial analysts, all are
you can say
middle level management.
Yeah, you can say, very right. And operational level managers are the mainly the supervisors and all that.
Yes.
Okay, so these are basically the classical management theory approach what we got. Now next is basically in the classical approach. If you see here, the term autocratic leadership is very prominent. Autocratic leadership, not the bureaucratic leadership or the democratic leadership. More specifically, you should say autocratic leadership model. is the central part of this classical management theory. Actually, why we are saying that, basically, there is no need to consult large groups of people for decision to be made. It was not like that, there will be a meeting. In that meeting, all the managers will participate, or all the top, all the managers from all the departments will participate, and we will exchange our thoughts. There will be a brainstorming session, like that. No, it was not like that. Here, under the classical management theory, a single leader makes a final decision. As I told you, single leader. And that particular decision will be communicated to each and every layer of the organization. So that is why it is known as autocratic leadership. It follows autocratic leadership model. So obviously, everything has its pros and cons. Like also, for classical management theory, there was some pros and cons. The very prominent pros, in my opinion, was it was very simple. The structure for the management, its functions and all that is it was very simple. Next, you can say the division of labor. That has make the task very easier, because every labor knows what is his or her responsibility. Okay, he or she don't have to think about anything beyond that. So naturally, that will be more efficient to accomplish. That will be more easier to achieve for the employees. And you think, if you concentrate only on your field, maybe there is a chance that it will enhance your productivity, because you are only concerned about your thing, your side, actually, only on your part of the job. So that will make your that may increase your productivity. So that is the concept was there. And the third point is also similar to the second point. That is the clear definition of the employee roles. Employee roles means employees who are responsible for the part of the job and the tasks. That makes the life of the employees easier, I think, in some sense. So these was the pros. What is the cons? Lots of cons, actually. Like the first disadvantage of this particular theory was that belief that employees are only concerned about their economical and that need, only concerned about the economical need and physical need. No, that's not the thing. Employee maybe needed social security. They needed support in their hard times. Emotional bonding is important. So these things are omitted in this particular theory. And also, there was no focus on the creativity of a person. Because as you know, if you want to produce something, you have to have some creativity within you. You have to have some creativity within you. So creativity, being creativity is very important. So that is the thing. So these things was omitted in this theory. Okay, these things was not there in this theory. So Next, you can say in this theory, actually, the workers are treated as the machine. Like workers will come, they will produce, and they will go. For that, they will be given money, and they will go. But it's not like that. It can't be like that. Actually, that will make the employees moral. That may make the employees moral down sometimes. We are human beings. We have feelings. And if I'm not feeling well, if I'm not okay from my mind, that must hamper my job, that must hamper my work, my productivity. So that thing was not there. Another is the reliance on prior experience and the ability to apply it almost solely to manufacturing setting is another drawback of this theory. Actually, the era যার যে সময়কার কথা আমরা বলছি, at that era there were the lots of at that era we will find lots of manufacturing units were there. Actually, lots of manufacturing units. So this particular theory is mainly focused on the manufacturing plants and all that. Like today's service industry, what we know as service industry, today's service industry, that type of industry was not exist, I think, at that time. So whatever we are talking about, actually we are talking about the manufacturing setting. Like different industries, like heavy industries, you can say heavy industries kind of thing. Though that heavy industry was not in the format of today's heavy industry. Please don't misunderstood me. I'm not telling that. I'm just trying to give you an example that like maybe not like today's car companies like that, but at that time also some vehicles were produced. Maybe that maybe ওই ঘোড়ায় টানা গাড়ি, তার যে body, like that. I'm just trying to give you an example. So that kind of thing, or maybe bridges. Obviously, at that time also some bridges and some construction works has been done. So that thing I'm talking about. So the reliance on the prior experience, আমরা যেটা করেছিলাম ওখানে, যে prior experience এর উপরে বেস করেই আমরা কাজটা মানে ওই আমরা শুরু করেছিলাম। আমরা we believe that যে prior experience যার আছে, আগে থেকে যার experience আছে, and the ability to apply it, এবং সেটাকে যদি অ্যাপ্লাই করা যায়, তো that will be enough. আর কিছু দরকার নেই for an employee. So that you can say another drawback of this particular theory. Now, if we see the usage, I have included one particular usage kind of thing. The classical management theory, you can read, the classical management theory can help streamline the manufacturing operations where high productivity is must. Okay, classical management theory te oi jeta bollam manufacturing operations, আমরা mainly manufacturing operations এর কথাই বলছি, যেটা বলছিলাম, এবং সেখানে ওই high productivity is must. However, it fell out of favor after the rise of the human relations movement. একটা সময় গিয়ে একটা মুভমেন্ট এসেছিল, হিউম্যান রিলেশনস মুভমেন্ট, তখন এটা ফেল আউট হয়েছিল। we should to gain a better understanding of human motivation for productivity. ওই যে এখনকার যে থিওরি, আমরা এখনকার যে থিওরিতে বিলিভ করি যে হিউম্যান মোটিভেশন ইজ ইম্পর্টেন্ট, motivation is important, psychological needs are there. We will study psychological need. There are different kinds of needs, different layers of needs actually. Okay, there is a famous theory under this need theory, you can say. Either you will study or you have already studied it, I think, in organizational behavior.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I already have
Yes,
studied,
yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Abraham
yes.
Maslow's need theory. Abraham Maslow.
Abraham Maslow, yes, sir, yes.
Exactly. So you know that better than me. Okay, but this session is going to end less than 1 minute. Is I'm coming to the next session. I'm giving you the next slot.
Yes, sir.